Developing clairsentience. Let's talk about it. Clairsentience is the ability of sensation throughout the body to sense spirit. This is not empathic ability like feeling emotion, like emotions or the emotional energy of other people. It's sensations. So, you might get tingles in the arms or shoulder, wherever the body part may be. And how you develop this ability is, through the imagination. You imagine, what I like to do is call forth my spirit guides. I mean, what I was always, taught by my mentors to say, dear spirit guides, thank you for guiding me around this path. Um, please come forward and allow your being to touch my physical person. And just imagine somebody or something touching your hands, for example. And don't remember that energy is subtle. It's not going to be like, jolting. So just, imagine some kind of spirit touching your fingers or touching your hand and see if you can sense any changes in your body. Then imagine, another body part. Imagine like a spirit guide or something coming through and touching your knees or touching your left knee. Doesn't have to be both. Then touching your right shoulder. See what you can feel. And you just, keep doing this with each body part over and over again. What you can do is maybe get into a little bit of meditation, do some breathing and like, breathe deeply in, then breathe deeply out, just to relax yourself. If you're intense or you're doing something and you're tensed up, it won't work as well. So it's always good before these exercises, both clairaudience, clairvoyance, and what have you, just to relax first. Breathe in for 5 minutes, get chilled out because if you're on edge, don't be practicing this stuff when you're just getting out of work. I get that people's time, people might have limited time or what they can do, how much they can practice certain things. But if you're angry about something or you just had a conversation with your boss or whatever, don't do this stuff then. Relax, give yourself 5 minutes, sit down in a chair somewhere, breathe in, breathe out, and just close your eyes and imagine, call forth whatever beings you feel that you need to call forth. And just imagine them touching you in different spots. It'll just, not only, strengthen, the clairsentience ability, but it'll just, you can feel certain things. So, that'll help you strengthen your overall abilities. Once one ability is kind of strengthened, everything else kind of goes along with it. So, once your clairsentience gets stronger, the clairaudience will get stronger and vice versa. Because it's all kind of each ability is kind of one big thing. It's just in the way we use it. That's which one, is stronger. So obviously, since I fantasize a lot and use my imagination quite a bit, my clairvoyance is strong, and I listen to music a whole lot. I have playlists everywhere, YouTube, Pandora, Spotify, what have you. So my clairaudience is also very strong. My clairsentience is strong too, but I think my body has become accustomed to being so used to feeling out spirit in various ways that I'm so used to it that I don't really realize how clairsentient I can be. And so then I realize, and so I'm more attuned to the clairvoyant or clairvoyance and clairaudience aspects of things in clairsentience, although all of them are probably equally as strong as each other, despite my lack of realization on certain things. And that's for the most part it. I mean, just calling forth whatever you believe in, whether that's, if you want to call forth Jesus or God, if you're religious in some way, if you want to call forth whomever, whatever spirit you identify with, if you want to call forth a goddess or Odin or, whomever you identify with to help you out with this, you can. And you just notice little changes in your body when you ask, have to touch certain things. And also, again, the thing that I forgot to mention during the clairaudience exercise is that, say, have them say a word inside your mind too. Like you say a word out loud and then have them say a word out loud. and see what kind of voice it is. So when I hear, my inner hearing, when I hear voices in my head, when I hear voices out loud, or when I practice some exercise, usually it's more of a feminine voice that comes through. Since I have more of an androgynous kind of voice, not really, I guess wouldn't be considered overly masculine, but then again, it's not, super feminine either, despite me being female. But, I really don't have one of those voices that are considered a feminine voice. And so it's kind of in between. And so when my guides say words, it's more feminine a lot of the time. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be that way. I mean, for you, it could be a more masculine voice that comes through. Maybe you're a masculine person, and it's just, maybe you have a masculine voice, but then there's still another masculine voice that comes through. You don't have to be a certain way for a certain voice to appear as another certain way. It's just, that's just something I forgot to mention in a previous video I made. So, I mean, like, all of these things come together. As you can see, between clairsentience, clairvoyance, and clairaudience, imagination is key. Again, if you can't visualize that well on your own, like I said, use physical objects to look at, and then create, and then explain what you're looking at as you go along. That'll help you, I guess, visualize further for those people who are like, I can't visualize, I can't imagine, off the top of my head, such as I can. You're just going to have to take an object, look at an object, and describe the object, and then take it from that point forward. That's how you're going to end up doing it, for the most part. Again, like I said, the things I say aren't, written in stone. If you can find yourself different ways of doing these exercises, then, whatever works for you, great. But I know that for a lot of people out there, a lot of these things, you're going to use, and it's going to, it's not going to be the exact same way that I explain it, because we're all different. We all have different, different variations of the imagination, different variations of visualizing, different variations of, seeing the physical world. Some people that are taller than other people are going to see objects differently and have a different viewpoint. And that's okay. And our abilities, the sixth sense abilities, just like our physical sensibilities, are different for every person. Where one person feels in their pinky fingers, and like, another person feels more strongly with their index and middle fingers. And therefore, the same can be said for their, the other abilities, clairvoyance, clairaudience. The way it comes through for one person isn't going to be the exact same way it comes through for another person. That's just the way that it is. And, you're just going to have to find out, which one is your strongest one already. If you have a strongest one, for all you could be an all-rounder, from the start. But see, which things work for you and which things don't. But this, these videos are just to give you like a basic thing at, shooting off point to develop your skills further. People always say meditation is key to developing your abilities. I wouldn't necessarily say that meditation itself is key. But being quiet and being still, I think, are key factors. And so people that have difficulty being still or being quiet, some people are just naturally loud when they walk in the door and they talk. They just have like a booming voice. They're just loud naturally. Just like I'm a very quiet person naturally. People are always telling me, Lauren, speak up. I am saying, when I do talk loud, it's like, wow, I still can't hear you. Speak louder. I'm just a naturally quiet person. Whereas if you're a naturally loud person, you may have difficulty in some regard. So I mean, you know, see what you can do by quieting not just the mind, but just quieting yourself and not moving and being still and really just observing the, just I want to say not just the energy around you, but just observing what's in your surroundings are going to be key to developing your abilities. And while I'm not saying that, optimism, being fake happy is great, but if you're like negative Nelly all the time, This sucks, that sucks, oh, my life sucks, oh, this thing will never work out, you suck, I hate my friends, I hate my boss. You know, being positive isn't necessarily a requirement for developing spiritual abilities, but it can help greatly. If you hate yourself or you hate your life, it's going to be difficult for you to quiet the mind and be still about your life when you hate everything or you're not pleased with anything. And if you're a negative Nelly and saying that things in your life aren't working, then you're not going to believe that you can develop clairaudience or clairvoyance. You're not going to be like, oh, you're going to be like, oh, well, these exercises, this stillness stuff sucks too. So I mean, there's a little bit in spirituality where everything's all happy and go lucky all the time, and that's what being spiritual is all about. No, being spiritual is like accepting your physical reality, but also knowing in your heart that there's more. Everything is not peachy. Some of the brightest days of your life will come through lots of periods of darkness. That's just the fact of reality. But that's a different video. I'm getting off track here. But I'm saying, if you're going to be down in the dumps about it, your life and everything, then developing spiritual abilities or gifts might be a challenge for you. Anyway, thank you all for watching. As always, keep pushing forward and stay epic.